Hi, welcome to Boss Marketing Clubhouse. I'm Becky Yettaw of B Productions, and today we're talking to Bob Wilgus. He is the marketing director of the third largest pest control company in the United States. Hi, Bob. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks a lot.
So we've got some questions for you about marketing.
Sure.
You're the guy to talk to because you have done amazing work with your company, taken them to amazing heights. Isn't that true?
Yes. We've done a complete turnaround in our whole marketing strategy, and it's really turned out to be really generating a lot of high quality performance on all of our marketing channels. And that's ultimately turning into leads, into sales, and that's driving the profitability for the company. So yes, it's working very well right now.
So can you tell me a little bit about how you became a marketing manager?
I look back on my life as a driver of my career. I was an equity actor out of college. I went and put myself through school for marketing communication. So I always had this creative side to me. And so I went into acting for a while, and then I learned guitar and was in music. So I've always been a performing type person. So it's always been a creative. And at the end of the day, when I was thinking about college and career, I've always been motivated by what makes consumers react to stuff, what makes people buy music, what makes people look at a piece of art, what makes people laugh at a commercial. And that always stuck with me about consumer-driven actions. And so I read this really cool book called Outside In Marketing by two authors called Rise and Trout. And it struck such a deep chord in me creatively. And it's kind of like the secret sauce for me, because everything I do is outside in marketing. I think about it from the consumer's perspective. And so everything that we do in my company and all my companies before has always been driven by consumers will tell you what they like, how they want to respond, because it's what's most comfortable for them. If you listen to them, it's a lot easier to generate activity and performance and leads and sales if you're giving consumers or prospects an easy way to interact with you. And that's really been the foundation of everything that I've done as a marketing manager and a leader for the last 25 years.
Wow. What does outside in mean exactly?
It means for me, for example, we're a pest control company, and at the end of the day, if people see a bug in their house, they want it dead, right? So what's motivating that consumer to look for a pest control company? And for us, one of the cool things about it is I did an audit of people who bought our products when I first joined the company, and by far, probably 70% of the people that initiate a contact with us are the female heads of household or the female in the household. And so my marketing became instantly easy. First thing I could do was I'm marketing to women, right? So I'm not going to talk price, because female prospects respond to need, concern, care, safety, right? Money is ultimately going to be a bottom line decision. That's usually based on their own budget and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it was an emotional decision.
Oh, wow.
Right? So as a marketing person, I go, well, what's my content going to be? It's not going to be, we have the cheapest pest control company. It's, for my company, our underlying marketing message is, we improve your quality of life through safe and effective pest control. Take care of your family, your friends, your neighbors, and your pets. Right? So that's a very emotional thing. It's not, we can kill bugs cheaper and faster than everybody else. That's not very emotional, right? So that's kind of like real bedrock stuff for me. And so when I'm creating ads or I'm creating copy, video, that has to be an underlying motif throughout everything that we do. And that makes it a lot easier when you deal with creative people, whether they're designers or videographers, writers, because it allows them to turn themselves outside themselves, and you're attracting people because they're naturally going to gravitate towards your message because it's comfortable, right?
Because it's coming from them, so
right.
The outside means it comes
Consumer-driven marketing.
Yes.
What does the consumer need and want? And then also you have to identify what consumer. So I know my demographic profile, age, household income, right? They have to be homeowners. So there's some certain basic things that when you go to an ad agency or a digital agency, they tell you, what are my basics? So zip code, market, demographics. Okay, that's the easy stuff. You better know that, you better know it well. And whether it's by product or service, and then if you think about it from a consumer perspective, and that drives everything that you do. So when I work with my team, I say, is this easy for the consumer? So when they go to our website now, we want to make sure that when they hit that site, within 3 seconds, they're going to get to where they want to get. And we have to do everything we can every day to check and recheck ourselves to make sure that when a consumer or a prospect hits our website, within 3 to 5 seconds, they're going to get where they want to get. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that drives absolutely everything that we do.
I mean, that's sort of how I think about life in general. Like if you're selling something or you're doing something, you have to please the customer. They're the ones buying it. If they're not happy, you're not doing a good job.
You know, it's true, but you know, for example, when you're marketing to certain consumers, price is important, right? So when you're buying a Mercedes, price isn't the issue in terms of affordability. So now it's prestige, it's look, it's a different kind of emotion. And whether you're marketing to a male or a female or a family, the message that you're trying to get across, if you don't know who's buying your products, that's the first thing, right? Who's buying it? What do they look like? You want more of them. And so that's the analytic part of it. So if you know your basics, who's your market, what's motivating them to buy, what's your demographic, and if you understand that from the consumer's perspective, and everything that you do is driven by how you think the consumers will come to you and interact with you, because you already know, based on your database, who's already bought from you. You just want more of them. You also know who you don't want. So you can also, I don't call it anti-market, but you can segment your market very easily by doing that. But the more focus is on trying to attract the right people to your program, your product, your service.
Are you involved in marketing? I mean, is there an involvement in marketing that has to do with the customer service aspect of the business, or is that something that you have to give up to other people?
Because you know, in marketing, it's promise a lot, deliver more, right? So a good marketing leader should have, and I'm going to use this word intentionally, an intimate relationship with the sales leadership team, and that could be an inside sales, outside sales, or call center sales. If you're not in lockstep with them, because you're sending out a message, attracting prospects, and if you're giving value propositions or offers, and it's not just get $50 off, it's if you're not engaging with them and getting feedback from them, because ultimately a salesperson, and I do this, and I've done this for my entire career, I seek out the best salesperson and I ride with them. I listen to what they say to customers. How do they overcome objections? What's their style of presenting, and make it easy for them to get into a conversation and interaction with them, right? So that kind of insight from a marketing person is critical, because that guy or gal, when they get a lead that I generate, it's going to close. Right. So from a customer service perspective, what you don't want to do, and you think about the marketing funnel, at the top of the funnel are leads, right? The bottom are sales, and then you've got customers at the very bottom. You don't want to have holes in the bottom of your funnel where they're falling out more than you're putting in at the top.
Yeah.
So you really have to be sincere and honest in your offers and your message. You've got to be arm in arm. Everybody has to be singing off the same hymn book.
Right.
And so it's funny, we just went through the pandemic and we interact with people that are working from home. And while our company thrived from a business perspective, as a marketing person, I struggled not being in meetings and having conversations just like this, out to lunch, and saying what's going on in the field and how are customers responding. Because ultimately, customers come to the website to pay their bills. They also come to us and write nasty grams saying, you were supposed to be here yesterday. That comes into the marketing department.
Oh, wow.
Every interaction, whether it's a phone call or a form or what have you, the vast majority of those people are coming in directly or indirectly through the website. So I see and read that stuff. And I forward it obviously onto those team members, whether it's sales or service. But if I'm not intimate with them and finding out, are there customer concerns? Are they happy? Are they sad? Did we meet or not meet their expectations? Those are all kind of underlying drivers in how I do what I do and how we say what we say, whether it's in an ad or a radio commercial or a digital video marketing, whatever. It's all part of that think about cooking. You have to keep testing your food as you're making it. It's exactly that same way. Every day I'm in the kitchen cooking, and I have to constantly be testing and listening and monitoring to make sure that we've got happy customers, we got sufficient leads and activities coming in, and all the channels that we use to generate leads, are they performing, right? So if you really do a good job, for me, when I join a company, I always say, in the first 6 months to a year, I'm going to spend 80% of my time administratively, making sure that all of our metrics are in place and all of our measurements and call tracking and all that other stuff, and 20% on creative. 18 to 20 months later, it's completely inverted now. So I'm spending only 20% of my time monitoring my lead channels and analytics and reporting, and I'm letting the machine run, and I'm spending 80% of my time with my team coming up with cool, creative, fun ways of attracting prospects that might not have engaged with us in the past. Because I'm getting all the leads that I need, but I'm a greedy marketer. I want more for the same amount of money that I'm paying, right? So that drives my costs down, and that increases the number of leads coming in. So salespeople are happy to see me when I walk in the room. But the 80-20 rule for me is, if I'm doing a good job, I'm spending 80% of my time doing fun, creative marketing stuff, and only 20% of my time really looking at numbers and running analytics and such.
Yeah, so you were talking about how marketing people are either data-driven or creative, and that you actually have both of those pieces.
Yes.
And so, but I'm really curious, you said that when you first start, you spend about 80% of the time getting your analytics all in order.
Right.
So what does that actually look like? Does that mean that you expand the channels to more channels?
Yeah.
Or do you work on what they have and then creating data for that and then expanding after that?
Great question. So there was a great movie, and I'll use this as an analogy to back into the answer to your question. It was a baseball movie, and they were having a losing season, and the coach comes in and he throws the baseball bats into the shower, and he goes, "Baseball's a simple game. You throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball." Well, marketing, actually, a good marketing team is very, very similar in that you have to generate leads, you have to count the leads, and then you have to value the leads, right? So when I joined my company and my prior companies as well, the first thing I do is do an audit. Where exactly is this organization? What channels are they currently using? Radio, TV, print, direct mail, digital, audio, look at all of them and find out what kind of numbers, analytics are you getting? Are you actually counting every lead? If you're not, okay, you mark that off as I got to work on that. How's the website performing? Are you capturing every person that's on the website? Are you able to track where they're going? Are you making it easy for them to fill out a form or make a phone call or get to where they want to get? So after that audit, I determine whether or not I need to break the machine apart and rebuild it, or tweak the machine because it just needs some minor fixes, right? Find out where the holes in the marketing funnel are, fill them, make sure that you're not leaking leads, and then figure out, how do I get more people at the top of the funnel? And you do that by then analyzing each channel and how it performs. So for example, in my company, we have yard signs. After we do a service, our technicians put out a yard sign. Well,
I've seen those.
Yep, every day when someone calls into the call center, when they call in on that phone number, my system automatically attributes that phone number to that source.
Because the phone number is a specific number, like you have different numbers for different things.
Every single one of my primary lead sources has a dedicated trackable phone number.
Isn't that confusing to the customer? Like,
Nope.
It's not a problem?
Nope.
They don't care?
Nope.
They don't need to know your number?
Nope. Because if you're driving by a house and you see ABC Pest Control, there might be an 800 number there. You may take a picture on it with your phone, you may not, but you might just do that for the company name. Now, there's a phone number on that yard sign, but they're probably not going to call from the yard sign.
Because they just drove by and they're not thinking about it.
That's correct. So we always will still have call center agents who will still say, "How did you hear about us?" Even though they may have triggered a lead source
from a different place.
Like website.
Like radio or television.
That's correct. The vast majority of our yard sign leads are people who came to the website first, dialed the website phone number, and our agents will say, "Well, how did you hear about us, Becky?" And you go, "Well, I saw a yard sign." So they changed the source from website to yard sign.
Oh.
All my digital channels all my Yahoo, Bing, Google, local service ads, pay for performance channels, SEO. Every one of those channels has a unique, trackable, reportable phone number that automatically generates a lead in my lead management system. So right now, after 4 years, and this started about 9 months ago, I have 100% visibility to every visitor and every call. So when you ask me about analytics, I can very quickly run a report and look at local service ads from Google. I can look at them regionally, nationally, and even down to the Tampa area. How are my local service ads from Google performing? How many came in? How many answered? How many of those calls were answered? What's the status of those leads? Did they close? If they closed, how much did we sell? So then now here's my ROI. I told you this earlier. Calculating ROI for me, marketing ROI, is very easy. I spend $10,000 on local service ads. I generated 500 leads. 250 of those leads close. That's a 50% lead close rate. I divide the number of leads by how much I spent. There's my cost per lead. I divide my number of sales by the number of sales I've got. I have my cost per sale. I have my average sale. And now it's basic math.
They must love you at your company, because that's...
We don't have a lead problem in my company.
They love that.
They do. And salespeople love that because, in most companies, they're commission based. They might have a base salary, but if you're giving them high quality leads every single day, they're going to want to come to work and they're going to want to stay there. And that's whether it's a call center salesperson or an outside salesperson. And I have to feed both those beasts, right? Because some products we can sell over the phone, some we actually have to go to people's homes. So I can look down at my 22 channels and run a very quick report, literally in a minute. I have a dashboard and I can look at every one of my channels and see how they're performing. Why is that important to me is because the money I spend isn't mine. It's either our investors or the company's money. So if my job is to generate as many leads as I can at the highest possible quality at the lowest possible cost, then I have to have unique, powerful insights into each one of my channels, by region, by channel, by state, by however I need to parse it, and be able to look at that very quickly and say, ooh, that inbound call channel is not working in North Carolina, but it's killing it in Georgia. Well, I'm going to take the money that I was going to spend in that region and move it to a different channel that's performing very well. So I look at my marketing mix in North Carolina, it's very different than in Georgia, and it's very different in Jacksonville, and it's even more different in Naples, because I have 22 channels that I can move money around and generate leads for each one of those regions down to a neighborhood to empower salespeople to make money and take care of their family and enjoy a lifestyle that they want to enjoy. So it ultimately is fun now, because I can look at those channels and say, what do I need to do? Is it my message? Is it competition? Is it just a crappy channel? Which sometimes it is. Believe it or not, in North Carolina, Yellow Pages and billboards are two of the most popular channels up there. Old style, old school. They love their Yellow Pages up there. Cost me $1,100 a year for my Yellow Pages ad, and the ROI on that is in the thousands, because that market, they look at Yellow Pages as a powerful, unique, valuable source of information, where other people here in Tampa, or they Google it. So pest control near me or your service near me. So you better have that locked in, down to what I call to my team neighborhood marketing. That's our whole focus.
I'm interested in how you collect this data and what you're using in terms of, like you said, you have database and a dashboard. How are you using, software?
Great question. So in my company, we use a system called Velocify, right? And believe it or not, so I work for a pest control company, but the lead management system that we use was actually created for the mortgage industry. Oh. We purchased it because it was a lower cost per license than some of the larger things like Marketo or Salesforce or Sales Exec. There are a bunch of them out there, right? So when I joined the company, I inherited it. So we have a lead management database called Velocify, and we have a industry standard platform called PestPack. So that's our customer management CRM, and then our lead management system, LMS, is Velocify. Very soon after I joined the company, we added a new director of sales, and he and I got together, and we are intimately bound from a business perspective. But we made the decision early along in his tenure that as the sales leader, he wanted to use Velocify as the lead management database. So not only do we capture all the leads and put them in Velocify, every sales team, inside and outside, use Velocify to manage the leads that are assigned to them. So, at the end of the day, my colleagues that are out there, whatever system you've got, to me, my counsel is this: you better make sure that that system has the capability of tracking every inbound lead by every inbound process. So whether it's a form, text, email, phone call, you have to be able to make sure that it does that, because that's a key part of the analytics that we were talking about. Yeah. And then because I have 100% visibility of all my leads, all the data on all the statuses of every lead, with a push of a button, I can run a report and see how many leads came in, how many have closed, how many are in a chase status, we're trying to chase the customer down, or we've made a proposal, we've sent them a proposal, and it gives me unique insights into how we're performing day by day. Just before I came here to the studio, I refreshed my screen and I went, oh, we're gonna have a good lead day. I can tell now, at the time of the year, at the time of the day, are we doing okay? Are we going in the right direction? But that lead management database is got to be critical, because that's where you can calculate your ROI. If you're trying to capture, I have a digital management company, a digital marketing company that manages all of my Google accounts, right? In 3 states, we've got thousands of campaigns running all over the Southeast United States. And when I first joined the company, they would give me these wonderful reports about clicks and conversions and all this, and I just said, look, a conversion doesn't mean anything if it isn't turned into a lead. So all you basically told me is, we spent $50 to get somebody to visit your website. No, if we can't connect a phone, a lead, or a website hit into an actual phone call or lead by a form, then that's not, I have no visibility. All you've told me is you got 6,000 people to my website and I only got 1,000 leads. Something's wrong here, right? So we had to go through that process of connecting every phone call, every lead, every form, all of that digitally, both traditional and non-traditional, into Velocify. So it's just tons of cool information that I can use to farm, to be a better marketer. Identify trends, identify which channels are performing better, but it really doesn't matter what you're doing as a marketing person if you don't have a full embracing of your lead management database. So they can be really complex, they can be really cumbersome, but they are all been created to try to drive value for them as a website, as a software program, right? So my role as a marketing leader is to always hire people smarter than me. And so I identified a team member who just thought Velocify was the greatest thing since sliced bread, just absolutely loves that software. So guess what? That's my go-to person to say, hey, we need to make sure that this happens. And they go, oh, I got it. I know exactly how to do that. I know this much about Velocify. This person knows that much about it. And I support and lift up this person all the time because they're a valuable member of my team. I didn't want to spend 3 weeks trying to figure out Velocify when somebody else could do it for me, right? And I value them. So Velocify is not only a lead management tool, it's a sales management tool, it's my reporting database, and it's a critical part of our company because we can't create a new customer unless it came in through Velocify. So it's in everybody's best interest. They're all using the software now.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it's buy-in, it's intimacy of a relationship with your sales team, because you don't want to have numbers on 2 different platforms, because then you're getting into that.
How do you combine them and then get your ROI?
Or you argue,
Yeah.
I sent you 500 leads today. Well, I only got 300. Now you got to disconnect. Now you're not talking about growing the business. Now you're getting into a contest with 2 departments that have a different value. I want to show you 300 leads because I want to make my closing percentage look higher. You're telling me you sent me 500. Well, we're no longer talking about growing the business and taking care of customers. We're now saying who's got the bigger car, right? We're really not even talking about business. It's now become a contest of analytics. So if you don't have that relationship, foster it. Go out to dinner, become as close as you possibly can, because as a marketing person, if you're not part sales, then you're missing your job. You're not creating the Sistine Chapel. I mean, I'm doing pest control. It's not a sexy thing to do, but if you market to consumers based on their quality of life and safety and security and family and kids and pets, and now they're coming into the website and they're filling out forms, they're engaging with us. If salespeople get highly qualified leads and they're making money, they're going to look to you and say, please give me more of those.
Yes.
And so that relationship between sales and marketing has to be twin sons of different mothers. They absolutely have to be in lockstep with each other to be successful ultimately.
So how have you been able to, I know you're using all these tools, how are you able to deal with the customer journey? Like, are you able to make tweaks on the customer's journey from when they discover your company and then go through this process?
Yep, great question. So about 9 months ago, we were doing that. I always say, check yourself. We always have to check ourselves as marketing people. And we kept looking at our website, and it's performing extraordinarily well. But you always have to say, are there little tweaks I can make that might improve that customer journey? Someone says, pest control near me on Google. They see an ad, they make a decision. Do I call that number? Do I click on that ad? Do I scroll down and look at the map? Do I scroll past the map on Google and find the organic listings of local pest control companies? Well, obviously, as a marketing person, you have to have a presence in all of those areas on that search result. But ultimately, if someone clicks on an ad or organically comes to our website, my job is to try to, with all due respect, hook them, hold them there, get them to where they want to get on the site, and provide them the information and the ease by which to take the next step, which is phone, chat, call, fill out a form, what have you. So we were looking at our analytics on our websites, and we're like, they were very consistent, cyclical throughout the month and throughout the seasonality of our business. And then we looked at forms and calls and durations on the website. So I said, because I'm an old direct mail person, like, we got to get back to that 3 to 5 second rule. If you can't hook a consumer to then want to spend 5 or 6 minutes engaging with you, then we're doing something wrong. So I said, let's do an A/B test. I manage 2 different brands. So on one brand, we created this little pop-up, and it basically was a shortcut pop-up window, and we put a little animated little bug. Looks not a cartoon, because it's actually a physical little bug thing that we bought on a website that was just premiums. It's a squish ball, but it looks like a bug.
Yeah.
So we put that little bug on this little pop-up window, and it says, "Hi, I'm Bo. How can I help you today?" So it's this, and it's in front of our website. So organically, the site is still loaded. So we're not losing any SEO or any of our analytics. And then there's 4 little options. I see bugs. I want them gone. Click here. Ooh. I'm a current customer. I need help. I want to buy pest control online, or send me to your website. So literally within 3 seconds, when they came to that website, they had an option.
They could be, I see bugs.
Right. So where do I go? I'm going to take them directly to, okay, what bug do you have and how do you want to get rid of it? So they go to a next, but this is all a sub-menu. It's not part of our navigation on the website. It literally is all within a pop-up window.
Nice.
So we did that, and within 30 days, we saw a 30% increase in traffic and conversion. So people were visiting the website and they were leaving. On the one that didn't have the pop-up, we had 30% of the people increase, the people who went to the pop-up and went to the next level onto the website. So we went, eureka. We've now validated the idea that how do you get the customer or the prospect to where they want to be as quickly as possible and make it consumable, and that little bug made it really easy. I didn't have to worry about what kind of face did I want to put there, so all the demographics were, I'm putting just this fun little non-person bug. And so that whole process dramatically changed the way we could see how people interacted with us. We now have unique insights into how many people want to buy pest control online, how many people are information seekers, how many are customers that really want help and support because they've got a question or a concern. And we're getting them to where they want to get. So your question about a customer journey, if they're an existing customer, when they go on the website, on their phone, whatever it is, they could just push that button, I'm a current customer. And then they got two options. Call this number, this is our dedicated customer service line, or fill out this form and we'll get back to you within 24 hours, right? So promise a lot, deliver more, make it easy for them to interact with you in a way that's most comfortable for them, and then just count it, analyze it. If something's working, scale it. If it's not, kick it to the curb, right? It's that fun. And before you kick it to the curb, then you go, was it the message? Was it the medium? Was it the delivery? And usually as a marketing person, you can look at those things and go, that's what it was. Or you just go, that's just awful. Just move off and get on to another thing. But that's now back to that 80%. I'm on the creative side. I'm using analytics to say something's working or something's not. If it's working, how do I scale it to get more out of it?
Right.
If it's not working, find out which one of the three things are driving that failure, and then learn fast and adjust fast. But that's all creative. That's all fun for me as a marketing person. So at the end of the day, those are the key drivers for me, especially as a customer, whether they're an existing or a prospective customer. Those are the things that I drive my team and I share with all the salespeople. How do we get them here? How do we make it easy for them to interact with us? And then track and report it.
I love that. I mean, that's what I want to do when I get to a website. Is I want my, especially something like that. Like I need my problem solved. I don't care about your company.
You know, with all due respect to any other pest control people out there, 80% of the pest control companies have something called the pest library. I don't want my customers going through this library of 7 different kinds of ants indigenous to Florida for them to figure out which one they've got and then figure out whether or not they want to call us. I want them to say, if you got an ant problem, we can take care of it. Click, call, or chat, right? Boom, boom, boom. Fast, interactive, resolved. This is another old school marketing thing. You think about everything that's old is new again. Everything is digital, right? 70+% of our leads come in through our website. But I also believe, as an old newspaper guy, that window above the fold, remember?
Yes, absolutely.
Everything on my website they should be able to do if they actually get to my website, whether they're on a tablet, a phone, or on a desktop. They should be able to get to every place on my website above the fold. If they're scrolling down, you might get 2 scrolls and they're like, I'm tapping out. Customers need to get where they want to get. So you need to make it easy for them to get there. So that even applies to my above the fold thing. Everything. Our primary products and services, our customer service line, our sales line, our online e-commerce platform, our unique value proposition, our same-day guarantee, our Better Business Bureau seal, it's all above the fold. If they want to scroll down and see pictures of our technicians or learn about our quality service certificates and our other integrations throughout the United States, they can scroll if they really want to do that, because you got to have that for SEO purposes, right? But from a consumer's perspective, if they can't get where they want to get above the fold, to me, that's the virtual newspaper. It's got to be right there.
So let me ask you, I've heard this before, that video will keep your customers on your website longer, and then that will add value in terms of Google pushing you up. I know you have a good Google position, but you don't really want people to watch videos and hang around on your website, do you?
I use video, for me, I use videos from a third party like YouTube, right? And explaining or educating people about things about pest control, and then try to drive them, because we're setting ourselves apart from our customers, from our competitors in some other unique way. For me, I have video on my website. It's my hero image. It's a little video clip that we shot as part of a company video, and it's just so it's
like behind
everything. So you see one of our technicians knocking on a door, and then you see him out there spraying. So behind the scenes, subliminally, you're seeing us providing the service that we promise.
Right.
But in front of that are clicks and buttons and zip code searches, and so that whole thing about above the fold, make it easy. But subliminally, they're seeing us delivering the promise of the service that we say we're going to do.
So they can have an...
So there is video per se, but it's not like a little thing that says, here's our recent video blog on termites in Tampa. there's a place for that, and that's in video channels, and your video channel should drive them to the website. Because people want to go to watch videos, YouTube, make it fun, make it informative, make it quick. But that's that channel. That's a unique channel that consumers go specifically to consume video. So if someone's a do-it-yourselfer, that's where we put our videos on pre-roll when we do YouTube videos. And our thing is, so you don't think you have a pest control problem? Are you sure? That's my 5-second lead-in before they get to their do-it-yourself, whatever they're doing on a website, on YouTube rather, looking for something. And we got so many people that were like, of course I don't, are you sure? And they click on it, and then the whole story goes, on the rest of the 15-second video just goes, 90% of the bugs come out at night. Are you really sure? So our unique value position is, we can tell you what's there at night when you don't see it. And go to this website and learn more, right? So each channel has its unique platform and how it delivers its content. Let it do what it's doing. I don't want I'm not ESPN, where I'm gonna have all kinds of video content from all kinds of sports. You go to ESPN, everything's about video, right? Because that's their content. Mm-hmm. My content is, we improve your quality of life through effective pest control.
So that really the phone call is what's more important.
That's right.
To get them to the phone.
First rule in pest control is, he who answers the phone first wins. So you got to, obviously from a call center perspective, have that all in line. But you have to be able to make it easy for them when they get to the website. Oh, sales, service, sales, boom, call. Click here to call, right? The push, if you're calling on a phone, the click to call capability on your website, little things like that. But at the end of the day, video is important, but it's all part of the marketing mix. So people that want to consume video, you better have video there that's relevant, easy to consume, but ultimately the call to action is, click here, go to our website. Because I want them where, once they get them on our site, I've got a pretty good chance that I'm going to convert them. And as I said to you right now, our website leads are converting at 50%.
Yes.
So it's working.
So we made some commercials together. B Stellar Productions made some commercials for your company.
Yep.
And how was that process?
For us, that was totally a branding issue. It was brand recognition. And look, the company we're talking about, its name is Aero Environmental Services, which doesn't sound like a pest control company, right? So how do you utilize brand recognition but push more of a service? And I think that's what you did as a producer of those videos, which is make it fun, make it light, and oh, by the way, it's this company.
Yes.
So it was more about, remember that giant cockroach that was running across the floor. Make it fun, make it easy to consume, and then go, oh, Aero, and then Google, right? So that's was total branding for us. It was brand recognition, and there's not a lot of opportunity out there in that video space to promote your services. So don't promote services so much as a need and a brand, and that did it quite well. For us, it's part of the marketing mix. Video, digital, so we use Google Display Network, and obviously a lot of digital advertising, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You just got to be out there, provide content to the people that use those channels, and make it easy for them to click or call. It's really back to that, you throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball.
I mean, but isn't television kind of difficult to track? Like your television commercials, isn't that hard to track?
See, I roll television and radio into SEO.
Yes.
Because most people, I consider that an SEO channel.
Oh.
Because it's an overall branding thing, and they're going to Google me by my name. So if they type in Aero Services Pest Control Tampa because they saw a TV commercial, that's going to bring up an organic search on Google. If they click my website, I'm going to track that as an organic search. At the end of the day, if somebody calls in and said, I saw your TV channel, my call center person is going to change the lead from website to TV. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I look at that since it's a branding thing, radio, TV, that stuff, I consider that part of my SEO bucket. Mm. And then if they really identify themselves on the phone call that, hey, I saw that your TV commercial, I heard you on the radio, they'll change it. But ultimately, I just consider that part of our overall branding to drive organic search results where they're looking for us by name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're right. If you say, I spent $10,000 on video, how many leads did you generate? I go, no. Well, maybe that's part of another conversation. When I talk to my senior leadership team, I say, I'm defining how this channel works in my marketing mix. I don't want you to say, I'm giving you $10,000, how many leads can you generate? I'm saying, give me $10,000. Don't judge by which I generate the leads if they're putting money in everybody's pocket and they're performing well.
Oh,
right? So
okay.
I say, this is how I count my SEO. These are the buckets. These are the channels that tie into my SEO bucket. You don't worry about that. If you gave me $10,000 and my SEO budget was $20,000 and I generated $100,000 in sales, do you care?
Right.
It's my job to know how we got them and look at what's performing and not. You just need to answer the phone, close the deal, and get paid.
Right.
It sounds cold and crass, but sometimes, as I say to my sales team, stay in your lane.
And if they're making the money, they really don't care.
That's correct. But it's also part of that. If I was working for a CEO came to me and said, what's your philosophy about TV? Does that ROI work? I go, it's a branding issue first and foremost. And most people are not going to remember the phone number, no matter how much you do it and how much, even if you repeat it over and over again. Even the Geico commercials, they've got 7 different themes running at all times.
I don't know what the phone number is.
Right.
But you would remember Geico.
And what would you do? You type in geico.com, that's organic search.
Now I find the phone number.
Right, but that's organic search.
Right.
So that's now SEO.
That's right.
Is it paid media because you paid for the TV or the radio ad? Yes, but it's not digital paid where there's a connection between a click and,
right.
And you're paying Google because they served up your ad and somebody clicked on it. There's a one-to-one connection between that expense. So for me, I get to define with my colleagues and my senior leaders, this is how I define it. And as long as I'm generating high quality leads at a low cost that are closing well, you don't need to worry a little hard about it because I'll just make sure that you get more of those as much as possible.
Let me ask you a self-serving question. Mm-hmm. What could I do as a person who makes commercials? What could I do to get video marketing managers like yourself to buy commercials from me?
Ask them first of all, how do you as a salesperson, how do you personally believe or view TV as a medium to generate activity for your company, right? And so you'd ask them.
You ask them that.
You ask them
yes.
that. And again, you can please feel free to steal this. You say, my best customers, the people that are being successful using my products that I generate for them from a video perspective and a TV perspective, really understand that video is part of an overall SEO campaign. It's about brand awareness so that when someone Googles them by name, that is a branded search. That is like the gold standard the best gold standard lead in Google is if they actually type in abcpestcontrol.com. Because Google says this person knows exactly where they were going, right? How they got there has to be part of an overall marketing mix. If it's not part of a bigger chunk of channels that are driving organic search or organic phone calls, and if you can't track that, that's how I would pitch it, that it has to be part of a bigger thing. And we all know it has to be repetition, right?
Yes,
over and over.
repetition.
Quick, consumable, value proposition, and then that's this as well. Are you trying to solve a problem?
Right.
Are you trying to improve your brand? Are you trying to generate an emotion? Are you trying to generate a call to action? Mm-hmm. Buy 1, get 1 free. Buy 5, get 1 free. Guess what? Here's your ad. Hi, I'm Bob Wilgus with ABCXYZ. You call today. When you buy 3, you're getting 3 free. Here's the phone number. Here's the website. Buy 3, get 3 free. Buy 3, get 3 free. Now you're basically pounding that message because it is a commodity. That's the call to action.
Yes.
If it's here at ABCXYZ, your life is going to be so much easier because you work with us and nobody else really, right? So now I'm doing an emotion thing.
Right.
If that marketing person doesn't have that vision and that strategy for where does that message interact with all the other messages that you're doing? Is it consistent on your digital? Are you saying that digitally? Are you saying that on your website? Are you saying that on your direct mail? If you're all over the place, then you're going to see your ROI drop to the floor because you're not all singing in lockstep. And remember, marketing and messaging is like music. Mm-hmm. It's chords, it's not notes. So you want that.
Yeah, I love that because I want to know that information. I feel like it's kind of nebulous, and that's why I'm so excited to talk to you because you have, such a good grasp on the entire thing, and that it's a large problem that has many parts, marketing a company, because it's not just, you have a role to play, but ultimately you're feeding a machine that is the company's, bottom line.
Right.
And so it's all connected. And then branding is such a, weird concept, and, dealing with emotions and connecting with someone and whether it works or not. And then communicating all of that to your executives who don't know any of that and don't care. So you have to communicate that, and you're doing it through numbers. So you're able to, and even when you can't say directly that this TV commercial added this much money, you can talk to them intelligently about it. And that's, to me,
yes,
gold. Sorry, I just touched my microphone like a noob. So, that's gold to me.
It's also being, I always say I'm passionate, and I am a prolific marketing practitioner, because I think marketing is both an art and a science. Because we talked about this, the analytics and the creative stuff, right? So, doctors, they have a license to practice medicine, right? They're practicing their craft every day. And I believe that being a good marketer, being a good video producer, a TV producer, it's a craft, it's a process, it's gestalt, a reductive process. You have to keep peeling away the layers at it till you get to the core of it. And if those are the things that drive me every day, mm-hmm. But also when I sit at the board table and I look at the board of directors, and I'm speaking with absolute passion and conviction that radio, TV, and digital broadcasting are a critical part of my SEO campaign, along with these 3 other channels. And that's how I value that $500,000 that we're investing. And right now we're at a 35% increase, and our average sale went up 15%. Next.
And
right?
they're like,
but remember, at the beginning of our conversation, if I don't have those numbers, now it's all fluff and spin dry. Now you sound like a snake oil salesperson, yes. Right? So before you jump into, I didn't do video until a year ago, because I didn't have my website optimized, I didn't have my tracking in place. So I had to basically, my triage, what channels are working, pump the heck out of those, because I need the leads to keep coming in while I'm fixing the engine behind the scenes, launch the new website. And so it is an evolution process. And then it becomes that reductive process where you get down to the real core part of, I'll say it again, how do I get customers to interact with me? And then how do I make it easy for them to do the next thing that they want to do? Call, click, form, whatever. And then just scale what's working, fix what can be fixed, and then kick to the curb the stuff that's not. Again, throw the ball, catch the ball, hit the ball.
I love it. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much
Glad
for coming
to be here.
out.
This was fun. This was a lot of fun.
Really enjoyed your conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.